Did you ever watch an old television show expecting it to feel outdated, but instead, it's somehow better than you remember? Just like a fine wine, some shows only get better with age. Maybe it's because they were that good, or maybe it's because modern TV shows mostly suck. Either way, these are 5 TV shows that aged fine like wine. Starting with the show that refused to die, Supernatural. I have to admit, I have a soft spot for this show, and for many good reasons. When Supernatural first aired back in 2005, nobody, not even the creators, thought it would last 15 seasons. It started off as a niche horror show about 2 brothers hunting monsters. And yeah, it was very good, but who would have guessed it would turn into one of the longest-running and most beloved television shows of all time? The reason Supernatural aged so well is because it evolved with its audience. What started as a Monster of the Week show turned into something so much bigger. It was an epic, emotional, and often tragic story about the fate of 2 brothers. Talking about the brothers, Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles are probably the main reason why this show was so successful. I mean, their chemistry is unmatched. And just like Jensen said in this interview, their relationship off-screen is actually really important when working together for this long.
There's a reason that Jared and I worked for so long together, and it's because we actually like each other. But more importantly, we work really well together. And when you find someone that you work so well together, you always hope to work with them more and to work with them again, and in any capacity. I have no doubt, even outside of Supernatural, that Jared and I will find ourselves working again together.
And their bond as Sam and Dean Winchester is what carried the show through its highs and lows. No matter how crazy the plot got, their dynamic always made it work. But it's obvious that the passionate fans managed to keep this show alive. Supernatural has one of the most dedicated fan bases in television history. Even after the show ended, people are still rewatching, making theories, and hoping for a reboot. But I think everyone agrees with me when I say that The Sopranos aged like fine wine. When it aired back in 1999, people knew it was good, but I don't think anyone realized that it would change all TV shows forever. Back then, good guys were good, bad guys were bad, and the idea of a protagonist that would stand in between those roles was almost unheard of. But then came Tony Soprano, a man who was both a violent mob boss and a really insecure and emotional family man. One moment he's ordering a hit, and the next, he's in therapy questioning his entire life. That level of complexity was revolutionary at the time. And that's why The Sopranos only got better with time. It didn't just tell a great story, it managed to change television for better. If you think about it, without The Sopranos, shows like Breaking Bad, Mad Men, or Game of Thrones most likely wouldn't have existed. It set the stage for shows with flawed yet morally complex characters and deep storytelling to be created. But here's what makes it so great. The Sopranos is very rewatchable. Every time you revisit it, you pick up on new symbolism and hidden details. This show was way ahead of its time. And with every passing year, more and more people are realizing just how much of a masterpiece it really is. This is what James Gandolfini thought of The Sopranos being so successful.
The Sopranos is successful is, and I've said this before, is it deals with children, it deals with parents, it deals with family. I mean, I think the older characters on The Sopranos, especially in the beginning, you don't see older characters written like that. Then, I mean, you know, you have to put certain things to escalate it a little bit, and that's the mafia part of it. And I just think it's so well written. I mean, the writers, I mean, I sit there and read it and just go, Jesus Christ, it's so goddamn smart.
But the next show that aged like fine wine is probably also the most addicting one. House MD is not like the other medical dramas. It wasn't about a boring romance story or a predictable Patient of the Week series. It honestly feels more like a detective series rather than a medical one. But what makes House so good is that it always remained thought-provoking. A lot of medical shows rely on cheap drama, but House treated its audience with respect, always coming up with complex medical cases. Not only that, but the humor was always on point, and the story actually had depth. But the real reason why this show ages so well is because of Gregory House himself. He's not your typical doctor. He's rude and manipulative. But somehow, everyone still roots for him. That's called great writing, and unlike a lot of anti-heroes, House never relied on shock value. He's just extremely relatable, and that's what makes him so loved. I doubt anyone other than Hugh Laurie could have played this fascinating character so well. And no matter how much television changes, people will always be drawn to a smart and comforting show like House MD, but believe it or not, even Hugh Laurie was surprised at how popular this show has become.
House in Europe is massive, isn't it?
It is rather large. It is rather substantial, yes. I can't account for it because it seems to be such a wordy show, such a sort of densely wordy show that I can't imagine how it gets translated well enough.
But Twin Peaks is the textbook example of a show aging like fine wine. Imagine turning on your television in 1990 and seeing Twin Peaks for the first time. Nothing like it had ever existed before. It was weird, unreal, funny, and terrifying, all at the same time. And back then, people didn't know what to do with it. Some thought it was genius, others thought it was too weird. Only now are people starting to realize how legendary Twin Peaks actually is. David Lynch and Mark Frost created a show that was so ahead of its time, it took decades for everyone to catch up. Without Twin Peaks, we wouldn't have shows like Stranger Things, Dark, or The X-Files. But what really makes it age so well is its uniqueness. You can watch 100 other mystery shows, but none of them feel like Twin Peaks. The eerie music, the offbeat dialogue, the haunting visuals, it all feels nostalgic in a way. But this list wouldn't be complete if I wouldn't mention Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of the greatest animated series ever created. I've heard someone call this show the gold standard of animation, and I strongly agree. When Avatar: The Last Airbender first aired on Nickelodeon in 2005, most people assumed it was just another kid's cartoon, but now it's considered one of the most iconic animated series ever made. It's somehow more complex and deeper than most TV shows today. What makes Avatar age so well is how well it does everything. The storytelling is perfectly paced. The world building is impressive, and the characters are some of the most well-developed in television history. It's a show that doesn't just tell a great story, it respects its audience, blending action, humor, and emotional themes in a way that feels timeless. So these were the shows that only got better with age. I'm sure that there are many others that would make this list. Let me know in the comments.